I remember one time seeing an image on Pinterest that showed a series of pictures of cooked steak. It showed the gamut of cooking it, from extremely rare through to well done, about 5 images in all. The purpose of the image was to emphasize that just one of the steak was cooked correctly. In other words, there's only one way to cook the perfect steak. Turns out the perfect steak is where there's 75% of pink meat through the middle. Almost like the meat's been seared on each side, but not left to brown all the way through. Great steak is supposed to be rare. The image caught my attention for a couple of reasons. First, I'd never really known how to cook the perfect steak, and the image illustrated in a very simple and straightforward way how to cook it right. It made it seem simple. It's really just the percentage of the meat in the middle that remains pink. Second, it had an extraordinary number of shares. It had been repinned or shared thousands of times, and it had countless likes. I wanted to share it myself, and apparently so did many other people. Basically, it had gone viral. The image looked almost amateurish, like very low budget and certainly not professionally produced, and I was intrigued. And so I was keen to research a bit more to find out why it had become so popular. And after doing some digging, I found out the image originated from a small butchery in Swansea, in the southern part of Wales. It was a family business that had been passed down through the generations since 1869. The current owner, Jerry, was running a small business that his father's father had run. Now, unfortunately, like many butchers in these modern times, Jerry's business had suffered from a consumer trend towards buying meat from the large supermarket chains. But Jerry had a very small, loyal customer following, mostly local people who valued Jerry's knowledge and expertise when it came to selecting the right meat and how to properly prepare and cook the various cuts. The fascinating thing was that Jerry didn't know how to use the internet. He barely knew what Facebook or Pinterest was. How had he managed to make an image that was going viral on the internet? Turned out his granddaughter did, of course, know about the internet and social media, and had shown him how it worked one Christmas at the family gathering. One thing Jerry did know a lot about was meat, what his customers wanted, what they cared about, and why they kept coming back. So he asked his granddaughter to help him make an image showing how not to cook steak and how to cook the perfect steak, that 75% of pink meat running through the middle. His granddaughter helped him upload it on Pinterest, and it went viral soon after. What do I want you to remember and take away from this video series? That it can be done. Jerry wasn't an expert at social media. You don't have to be an expert at using social media or digital marketing to make something go viral. It's always the content, it's never the technique. What Jerry did know a lot about were his customers and what his customers really cared about. His customers are people who are passionate about their cooking and strive each day to improve. Find out who your target audience is and study them. Really study them. Find out what their values are, what really matters to them. Then shape your brand and marketing content around it. Whether it's surfers who care about the health of the ocean or men in their 40s who grew up listening to grunge bands like Nirvana, find out what your customers care about in life and focus on being the brand who cares about those same things. Or better yet, actively participate in their life to make it easier and better. What do I want you to do now? Go somewhere quiet and just try to zoom out a bit. Forget all the small things about your business or study that are playing on your mind, stuff you get caught up with each day. Just think very carefully about all the elements that you think define your brand or startup or business idea. What personality do you think your brand has? If your brand was a person, who would that person be? Who would that person associate with? What types of friends would it have? How would it dress? What type of education would it have? And how would it talk? What are your brand's values? How does the character of your brand signal those values? Is your brand someone that is respected and someone that would be popular? If the image you came up with is not, then you have to try to identify why not. What do you need to do to make your brand's personality someone who is admired and looked up to? Someone who's respected. I'd like to leave you with a quote from my book. This quote: "The secret to share is understanding how people care." Think about that.